Hello.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey
How
Jesse.
are you? What's up, Ian and Luke?
We're good, man.
Ah,
Greetings from Malta.
what's that?
Greetings from Malta.
Ah, that's very excellent. Very fine evening to you, I guess it is there, right?
It is, yes, 7 o'clock now, so still very bright, still very hot. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, it's really awesome to have underground sound on. Cameron has a lot of nice things to say about you guys, and has really enjoyed like spending time and learning about what you guys do. So yeah, thought we would start off. I'm just gonna kind of keep it casual today, and just kind of want
Okay.
to get kind of in your own words, you know, um, what is underground sound and what are you all about, and we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, so why don't you tell me a little bit about underground sound and kind of when you got started and kind of your vision for what that would look like.
Sure. You want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jesse, it's nice to see you again. I think last time we saw you was even around Christmas time because I was in the US. So it's been a minute. But yes, so for Underground Sound, basically, we got started in 2017, and we met on a reggae boat party off the coast of Malta, and we met and we both knew immediately that we wanted to start a music magazine, but specifically an underground music magazine, because we realized there was no niche out there yet covered for this kind of music. There's dance music, there's electronic music, there's plenty for mainstream music, but we wanted to do specifically underground music as we knew it. So yeah, we got started. We started. I mean, I had the blog at the time. Ian then arrived in the scene and said, "We gotta start a website."
Yep.
And we started off covering the local scene in Malta. So we started off small. The idea was to help guide people to other parties that were happening on the island that weren't part of this mainstream district where everyone would go out and listen to the same music every night. And on that basis, we started covering parties. We started giving first person reviews of what was going on that were real and not like objective from a news, like a reporter's point of view, but from someone who was attending a party. So on that basis, we started writing. And then I went off to go to a festival in Czech Republic. And Ian suggested, Luke, why don't you go cover that festival and write about it while you're there? I'm like, that's also a good idea. We can write about it for the website. So we did. And from that moment, we knew that we wanted to write about music and festivals around the world, and wanted to really build something. Since we're based in Malta, which is quite international, and in between Europe and Middle East and Africa, that we wanted to be absolutely international and reach the far corners of the world and shed light on scenes that people had no idea existed.
That's fantastic. You're like a digital compass for underground dance.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I love that. When I was coming up, when I was just, a wee lad, um, um, gosh, there wasn't even the internet yet. When I first got into electronic, I think the internet maybe maybe was kind of getting started. But I mean, I was about 12 or 13, so there weren't really magazines like that. There weren't really um, kind of brands that were dedicated to pointing you in the direction of, there were a couple. There was Radio One, but there
Yeah.
wasn't, there weren't as many like publications and kind of roadmaps, kind of focal points of education and knowledge and experiences, and there certainly weren't as many music festivals either. So it's kind of good to have a hub where I was checking out your website this week, and I was reading some of the there's some really interesting stuff. There's some really cool music on the site. I like the Gonzo articles. Um, I also like the bit about Shibari. I was like, all right, all
Yes,
right. I was like, we got the variety. Uh, I've been to a couple of Shibari panels at various anime conventions, so I was a little bit familiar with it. And I have some friends who uh, it's an interest of theirs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really appreciate having like a resource like that where there's um, there's a lot to take in. So let me um, let me kind of take a look. I've got your your company profile up, and I just wanted to kind of walk through that. Talk to me a little bit about what kind of the initial vision was, and kind of has it developed or transformed, or like what have you kind of learned along the way since starting this in what 2017?
Yes, yes. I mean,
So
initially, as Luke said, we kind of started off as a blog. From there, we kind of went through the entrepreneurial kind of spectrum. We was trying to find ways to actually fund what we wanted to do, but in that respect, we kind of veered off course. So we started looking and researching into artist management, artist agency, and then we went towards marketing, and we flew loads of events to kind of bring money into the company. I mean, I guess in hindsight, we would definitely, if we'd have known a bit more, we wouldn't have wasted so much time. But at the same time, there was all lessons to be learned to get to where we are now. The events we still like to do. We don't do as many, although we do one, and we've actually had a couple of meetings today regarding doing some events over the summer, just kind of the smaller scale ones, because I mean, I'm sure you're aware it's super stressful trying to throw an event, you know,
and distracting.
and yes, there's only a few of us that are actually doing it as well. So exactly, that's a great point. It's distracting. So I mean, going over the years, we kind of got to just before COVID. We were still kind of a little bit confused, but we were still in that kind of, okay, we're a marketing kind of company, you know. We was working for a lot of events here, helping to promote them in different ways, mainly kind of using guerrilla marketing tactics and going out into the streets and just hyping up and making noise about events that was local, and in some cases some festivals that was coming over from the UK. So we banked on a lot in that respect, and then obviously COVID hit. And then we was kind of in that, okay, what do we do? And then we kind of took a natural break. It's really funny, actually. We didn't tell each other. We just, like, we took
Kind of took our foot off the pedal.
Exactly. We took the foot off the pedal, and we was just like, okay, let's focus on other areas. At the time, you know, I was like, okay, so this is not working. I need to kind of find other work, and I went into kind of real estate, which worked well at the time for me. You know, I got to learn a little bit more, and I also got to get a little bit more connections outside of the creative world, and you know, people that was handling the money here, the business owners, and all this kind of stuff. So that worked out for me in that respect. And then we kind of, I think you came round there. I think he came round to my place and knocked on the door, come in, and his first words were, "We need to kick this back up." And I knew straight away. I was like, "All right, let's do it." And then so we made a little bit of a plan. We had a massive focus on SEO. I'm really lucky. My girlfriend's a SEO specialist, so she helped us with that. And then it took months of work. We realised how bad at the time.
What bad shape the website
the
was.
web, exactly, when it comes to being able for SEO purposes, you know. I mean, it had all the information there, but the way that the information was being presented and the way that our articles, the things that we was talking about, was being found was
It just wasn't being found.
It wasn't dead. That's it. Yeah, it just wasn't being found. So we spent a good couple of months getting that done, and then obviously we refocused, and we're like, okay, now we're back to originally what we love to do: writing, connecting, networking, and the media aspect of it. And yeah, we kind of relaunched again at the beginning of the year. And I mean, we've probably done more in the last 6 months now with a solid focus than we did in the past. You know, the network's grown, the writing's got better.
Oh yeah, we've improved quite a lot in a short period of time. I mean, we went from doing like 5 different things to really focusing on writing and propagating the magazine and getting out, writing about the things we really like.
Exactly.
And just doing just that.
Yeah. And as well, I mean, we actually, once we started doing that and once we started getting everything focused, we realized how much there is actually to it. You know what I mean? Because we was putting stuff off to go and do an event. We was going to go do this and do that. And we're like, man, there is, you know, for this to be successful, you know, it's going to take a lot. But luckily we had we did a lot of homework on, we had a lot of stuff on the back ends that we could redo. So when we jumped into it, we didn't necessarily have to build the back end up of the organization and stuff. We're very organized people anyway. So everything was kind of there. It was just about kind of guiding it more.
Basically, not all was lost.
Not all was lost. No, not at all. So so.
Got it. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So what, so 2 things that you mentioned that kind of like really resonate with me is that you took a break. And I'm a huge supporter of taking breaks with artists, with anybody who's working in the industry. I can't really you can't really overvalue the power of taking a break to kind of recharge your batteries. And then what you kind of coupled that with was you took a break, you came back, and you focused on, you honed in on a more specific message, and you narrowed your focus. And that's another thing, because when you take a break, you're able to kind of step back and kind of be on the outside looking in, kind of see the whole picture. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that I'm like, that's music to my ears. Is, you know, we took a break, we came back, and we hit it hard. I love that. So that's really cool. All right. So you work. What are a few of the festivals, like music events you've covered? Like what are a few of your favorites that you've covered?
So definitely Exit Festival in Serbia.
Boomtown.
Yeah, Boomtown in the UK. I mean, for those who don't know, the Exit is one of the biggest festivals in Serbia. Techno, house, it's a whole span of things going on, and it's been going on since the 90s. Boomtown Fair is one of the bigger festivals in the UK, and it's just a theatrical show of artists, performers, everything. And they build a city in these fields in the UK, and they turn it into a home for artists just for 5 days, and that was really fun and also quite difficult to cover because there was so much. And I mean, you see so many things and you have to remember all the details, and you have to be really strict when you're writing about things in person. Something interesting comes to you, you have to write it down, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on a piece of paper, because you can't depend solely on, I'm going to remember this later to write about it.
It's a gonzo kind of style as well. So I mean, if you've had a couple of drinks, it's going to be hard to kind of get that gonzo feel if you're trying to, I'm trying to remember. I use voice notes more. I can.
That's good as well.
To myself and go, I'm doing this, and then translate it into an article. So. Yeah, I mean, for me, I really enjoyed.
Ian's just at festivals talking to himself.
Exactly.
Oh, you fit right in.
I'm not on anything.
Nobody would know. So I imagine you're gonna come across a lot of artists, and you found yourself backstage at some events, I would think, or in, kind of interviewing some of those artists. I think a lot of people are interested, a lot of the artists that I work with are very interested in building that rapport, from a how to approach conversationally, how to approach someone like that. When you're at a show, how, and so I wonder if you can, talk a little bit about your networking process and how you approach when you're looking to get access.
Okay, I mean, I can use Malta for an example. There's a festival here called Earth Garden, and they approached us because of what we do. They wanted some different kind of coverage of the festival, where we was obviously given the press passes, which for us was great because there was some really good acts that was playing that year. So we know a lot of people at that festival. So when it comes to the artists, obviously some of them we don't know, but we're fans of. We're quite relaxed people, so we was just kind of walking up to people and kind of speaking just to introduce ourselves and just being friendly, just being in a friendly manner. And in some cases, like with artists, you kind of have to stroke the ego a little bit, like, oh, I love your music. I did, so that was quite easy. But yeah, I mean, I found that just being friendly, being interested in what they're doing, and if you're a fan or not, it's just better if you're a fan. But if you're not, just kind of fake it and at least know what, if you know you're going to approach this person, even have a quick look on your phone, like this band, what tracks have they released? Have a quick listen. Go, I really like this track.
At least know the latest releases.
Yes, exactly.
Just to show some respect that like you actually look into the person,
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't think approaching artists at festivals is the best environment for it.
No.
Because those guys, especially when you get introduced as press, like, oh, we got some press, we got to talk to press now. It's kind of a downer. It doesn't sound as nice as like for us. Like, yes, we get the opportunity to talk to artists, but when you talk to artists of a certain caliber, they just don't care. They don't care about the press. And I don't think meeting this type of artists, I think meeting artists that are still trying to get their name out, they're still like really trying hard to make it, truly underground artists.
Yeah,
you can approach them. And I kind of see our role as sort of recruiters in a way. So like where you have recruiters in the sports industry, where we really like look for talent, and when we find it, we hound on it, and we're happy to see this person grow and develop, and we're happy to talk about them.
Yeah.
So that's as part of our role. I see.
I mean, kind of on that as well. Another good way to do it would be, obviously you do your research before you go to any of these kind of things, but excuse me, we interact with them on social media before, so we'll share their music, we'll retweet their tweets, we'll just before actually going in and going, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to be here, we've done that before. We've interacted and go, oh, by the way, we're going to be at this festival, and oh yeah, let's go grab a drink or something like that. So it's like the footwork has been done way before. It's only on occasion that we've just had the opportunity, and then we've rocked up and gone, oh, we love you, we're press, blah, blah, blah. Could we speak to you, Sometimes it's gone well, sometimes it hasn't. It depends how much we've had to drink in person. When it comes to in person, we've never met before. Yeah.
I really think that like, it's nicer to meet someone than meeting a stranger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like if at least like, yes, exactly, the retweeting, interacting, even making a few jokes, man, nothing breaks the ice like just a bit of humor. Exactly. And like, it's always a risk, maybe they get offended.
We try not to
offend, obviously, but at the same time, our personality is that we take things very lightly. And if we approach someone in that manner first, they recognize their name. Okay, underground sound, boom. Okay, they've spoken to us once. Okay, underground sound, boom. They've shared our material. Okay, then if we approach them they recognize the name, they recognize the brand, and we approach them in a manner like, listen, can we talk about maybe doing an interview? We're going to be at this festival. Would you care meeting up?
Yeah.
Then it's much softer landing than just like, hi, we're Underground Sound. Like, please talk to us. It's like, who are you and why should I care? What is your connection to me?
Yeah. I mean,
like
before what we've done as well is like, especially if somebody's backstage and they're getting ready to go on, or they've been on stage, they might not talk just them. So if we're actually writing, like we did say at Earth Garden, we was actually writing about the festival. We just included kind of a snippet of his meeting, but then approached them later on and said, look, like, we've already done the footwork before, we've met them out, and we've dropped the thing, like, can we do an interview to a later date? And then, yes, and then we contact again, and
Ian brought up a great point. Just at the end of the day, if that person doesn't want to interact for you to write about them, write about them anyway.
Yeah. We've done that before.
Because
we have got rejected.
You are the master of your pen. You can write about it as much as you want, and you're offering them the opportunity to be involved in your writing. Now, if you really want to write about them, go ahead and write about it. And then they might be like, oh, these guys are serious. They actually wrote a few nice words about me. Yeah, maybe the next time I'm gonna say yes. Yeah. So, and do what stick to your word. Say I'm thinking about writing about you. Do it anyways.
Yeah. So, I love it. It ties in. One of the things that we do on my end with the music licensing, one thing that artists are always asking about is the approach. And that's mainly an email approach, but we're always kind of putting out there that more than just emailing someone cold, that might be the first way you get a hold of them, but go grab a drink with them, go catch one of their shows, go interact with them on some level, buy them a drink, take them out to a Scotch bar or a whiskey bar. I've met music supervisors that way who now send me searches for Marvel films where they're looking for music, and like that's all he works on is Marvel films, and it all came about from we went out for Scotch in Los Angeles, and cool. We went out to a really cool whiskey bar. So I like what you guys said about that, because I just for the artists that we work with, I kind of want anyone who's going to watch this to really kind of take what we've been telling them, and then it's always really helpful to hear it from other organizations and a little bit about their process. And I'm glad that there's overlap there. There's some similarities with our approach, but everyone's got like a slightly different way. I like what you said, write about them anyway, that's really cool. Like, you're uniquely suited to do that, and then potentially build a relationship from that, which I think is really, really interesting. So what are some of the kinds of music? Like, is it all kinds of underground electronic, or do you mainly focus on certain groups or certain types of music?
You want to cover this?
Yeah. I mean, we do have categories on the website.
Yeah.
That's kind of like hip hop, psytrance, techno. But I mean, really, every genre has its underground. Whether it's classical, and same with artists as well. Whether you're a poet or whatnot. We do have the categories on the website just to help us out, and to put things into perspective for people that's visiting, and also for the Google SEO reasons. So things are categorized, and that algorithm does its thing. More people will see it because of the categorization of the website. But I mean, we're both massive fans of everything, so we tend to lean towards certain ones personally, like drum and bass, for example. We're big fans of drum and bass, but we don't always write about drum and bass. I mean, I'm a big hip hop head as well, so and that is one genre that seems to have this stronger kind of underground feeling. These artists that are coming up, and then some of them good, some of them not. But I mean, we were speaking the other day about defining like underground. You know, like what is it? You know, it's for us, it's quality music, it's quality artists that have chosen not purposely not to go along the commercialization route. You know, they want to be doing what they do in these close shows, you know, putting out this high quality music that's not going to get what's the word? It's not going to be damaged by the big record labels, you know. I mean,
it's a subculture, really. I
Yeah.
mean, like there's you can talk about the music, techno music itself. For example, I give techno, but within techno there's a subculture. There's the characteristics, how people behave, what they wear, where they go out, what they do. And I think that it's also part of like the fact that this is not a mainstream thing you would do, like to go out and go to a concert and then go do something very typical, but rather something that's like countercurrent.
Yeah, they don't want to be the next big track on TikTok, you know. They're quite content with
they have artistic objectives rather than, let's say, like monetary and commercialization objectives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anyone that really falls in that category, anyone that was not justifiably commercialized, is underground.
Yeah.
Really. So
I mean, you can name famous people that are still classed as underground. I mean, I don't
exactly. This is a misconception, huh? So underground is not people who are unknown.
Yeah.
There are very, very famous underground DJs like Carl Cox, Richie Houghton, people that really like have a massive following, but do not conform to the mainstream.
Yeah. It's like hip hop as well. Like you've got Immortal Technique, you've got Our Lady Rugged Man, you know, these
people under stairs,
people under the stairs, Mr. Traumatic from the UK, you know, extremely talented, amazing lyricists.
Stuff you definitely wouldn't hear on the radio because
absolutely
it's just,
not. It's just filthy. It's pure filth. When it comes to Mr. Traumatic.
I really appreciate what you said about you can be known and still be underground. That's really interesting to me. And I don't think I've ever heard anyone put it so succinctly, is that, you know, you can be famous and still be underground. I think, you know, maybe Moby, maybe Fatboy Slim, they're pretty famous, but I don't really, you know, they might, you know, Chemical Brothers, I think, would be definitely underground. They're really famous, but their music is not for everybody. But and they're pretty maybe mainstream examples. I'm not sure, but they were kind of people I grew up with that never got any radio play and were just off in Europe doing their own thing. So
they're doing well. They're happy, you know. I mean, you can't fault them. They're doing music the way that they want to do it. They've got loyal fans that are probably a lot more loyal than like say Rihanna or whatever, where they'll just drop off if something bad's in the news, you know.
And they're always changing up the game as well. They're always like changing how they're
and then that comes up because then like then the mainstream artists start to see this popularity in this certain sound or whatever, and then it kind of grows from there, you know. Comes from, no matter what it is, it comes from kind of the underground at first and then reaches upwards. Like hip hop as a whole come from the underground, you know. Now it's super commercial, you know, and then people make music for commercial reasons, and then the other ones that prefer just to, you know, live as they're living, make music the way that they want to do.
Don't have a template.
Yeah.
Excellent. How can artists, I get asked a lot, you know, how artists could kind of work with you all, approach you all, you know, contact you all. I mean, is that something that you're okay with, or do you encourage that? Is there a process for that? How do you look to work with like artists who want to share what they're doing with you and kind of what they're developing, what they're creating?
Sure. I mean, I'll kind of go back to what I said about how we approach artists. I would say through social kind of first, you know. I think that's, we don't always have that, but I think that's good practice, you know, like to be able, at least then when we get an email, we know they've been interacting, maybe sharing the tweets, maybe sharing whatever on Facebook or on Instagram, for example, and we can see that they're actively interested in what we're doing. They've researched, and you know, they're not sending us a really commercial based track. You know, if somebody sends us a really commercial sounding track, then we're like, they've not looked into what we're doing, you know. I mean, I don't mind it, but I mean, if they send me this cheesy pop, like, you know, that's not gonna, I mean, it's got its place, but it's not got its place with our magazine. Like, how are we gonna sell that unless we can give another angle on it, which I've done a few recently. I've been sent artists that have not necessarily fitted in with us. In fact, this one was through Cameron recently, a Japanese artist called Shibari. Like, her music's great and whatever, but I couldn't necessarily find a way to speak about the music because it wasn't necessarily fitting in with underground sound. So digging a little bit more, we found out that she did music for anime, you know, and
there was our angle right there.
There was the angle right there. It's like anime art. So, and that's actually turned out to be one of my favorite articles that I had wrote. If people, sorry.
Yeah, but I just want to say, so yeah, if you want to approach us, or rather, if you want to approach any magazine, any online publication, first things first, follow, engage, and show interest on social media. It's free. It's easy. Everyone is on social media to try to promote themselves anyways. Don't be shy to do this. And it's a win-win because you're engaging and then we're seeing it. If we don't see it, try sending an email, right? So this would be the next logical thing. And I think it's good to start with the social media and then follow up with an email and make sure it's addressed to the right person. And in our organization, it's easy. It's either Ian or me.
Or info.
But generally in bigger organizations, bigger magazines, you're not going to contact the sales team. You're not going to contact the info. Maybe try reaching out to press. Maybe try reaching out, ask for the right person. You know,
research.
Exactly. And there's a tool out there that's very easy to use, and it's called LinkedIn. It's like, guys, like, it's free. You can find out who is who, and it doesn't take much to figure it out. So you can immediately to the CEO and find out who's in charge, and that person will be happy to direct you to the right person.
I did that just today. I got in contact with a label that I didn't know was existing in Malta, and we've got a meeting with them on Monday. So
excellent.
Yeah,
awesome.
There's a case study right there.
Exactly. I guess the next step would be, like, once you've sent the email, or you're prepping the email, should I say, keep it short and sweet. Don't slap it around the face with a wall of text because it's like, oh man, you know, like I'll read a bit, but it's the same as when we're writing. We can't just put a wall of text because people aren't going to read it. You know, you need to break it up. You need to just grab attention with a couple of lines, you know, and then just add all of your info to it, you know, your EPK and your links and everything, because, you know, then we can look at it and go, oh, okay, like,
then we can say yes or no.
Exactly, rather than standing back and going, oh, I need this information, what's this? I do like your music, but like, I'm missing this, this, and this, to be able to have an idea of what angle to put on you. So it's not just like, oh, this is so and so and they've released this. You know, we want to put a good spin on it, and also be able to offer the readers something worthwhile reading, other than, you know, like I say, someone's released this. It's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. And so what? I always ask the question when we're writing, and so what? Why should I listen to you? What's different from everyone else?
There it is.
I'm sorry. I mean, like, everyone is unique, right? Find that thing that's unique about you and then share it with us, but don't show us something that half the population has.
Exactly, and there's no information to it, and Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. And then I guess if we do actually feature the artist, keep in contact with us. Don't just get what you want and then disappear, and also share it. You know, we've had artists before that have not shared an article that's took a lot of time and effort to put into, you know, and they're not shared it on social media for one reason or the other, you know, and it's been really, really well written and everything, and we've gone through all this back and forth only for them not to share. But for us, we don't charge artists to feature, you know, because for us it's content, and content is currency. So is shares is currency, you know, and the more hits we get on the website, the more we're going to have a little bit more clout to be able to work with bigger brands, work with bigger artists. So
consider a share like a big thank you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and share it on every social. I mean, I don't see why not. It's beneficial to you, especially if maybe you're no matter where the artist is from, but if, like, say it's an American artist and a European magazine is featuring you, that's something that you want to put out. Is good for you. Share it on all your socials.
Share it with your friends.
Drag it out.
Share it with your mom.
Share it, exactly.
Share it with your mom.
Whatever. Share. Sharing is caring.
Share it with your mom. Oh, I love that. So I wanted to swing back to festivals, and you've done your fair share of events, and I think we have a fair amount of artists who may have never have been to a festival. So,
oh my God,
what is your advice, if any? You know, what is there anything you can share about do's and don'ts, or things you've learned about when you're going to another country to attend a festival? Anything you want to share on that?
So before we dive into this, Ian, I'm going to let you lead on to this, but go to a festival, please. Like, we have over 20 years of festival experience.
Yeah,
it's the climax of like musical life.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, it doesn't get better than this. So like, go ahead.
No, I was going to just ask you, are you saying from a perspective of going to attend and see, or going from an artist point of view to perform?
Oh, I think that's a good question, actually. I think I was initially thinking just going to attend, but that's, I'm open to feedback on either side. I hadn't thought about perform. I mean, because I've performed, I've been to festivals, but I don't go to as many as you guys. So, you've done a lot, and so you see certain things over and over and over again. So I was just kind of curious if you wanted to talk about that at all.
Sure. I can talk about going to a festival, and you can talk about playing at a festival.
Sure.
There you go.
All of that. We got ourselves a deal. So going to a festival, to a country you've never been to, for example, I mean, obviously check how to get there, figure out if the festival is your type of festival. I mean, maybe find a few names on what I do is like, I look at a lineup. If I see a few names that I know, fantastic. It's always good to go to territory that maybe you've known before, you know what you're getting into. And then let yourself be surprised by whatever who else is playing, you know? Yeah. Or if you're really daring and you can take what life throws at you, go to a festival where no name.
Yeah, the smaller festivals.
I can't. Yes, exactly. I can't.
I prefer the smaller festivals over the larger ones.
Exactly, but yeah, if you're gonna do that, go to a smaller festival. Like for example, if you're going to a festival for the first time, it can be very overwhelming, and it can be too much to take in, especially when there's crowds, there's people. Like it can be a bit scary actually. So I would suggest starting small and then moving up to the larger festivals, so that it's not overwhelming, and you can meet more people at smaller festivals. You can make more friends much easier, I think, in my opinion, than the bigger ones.
Yeah. So and see what kind of weather you're going to be looking for, and prepping for that. Like, I mean, if you attend festivals in Malta, it's like we was at one last weekend, and it was was hot as hell and dusty as hell, you know. So we had festival buggers covered face with dust and running out of water, dehydrating. You know, so you have to make sure you dehydrate, get some electrolytes in you, and
like, take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself, and I do have one tip actually. If you get, rather than use the toilets, you can just use a tent, put a chair in there, strap up a black bag, and then you've got the toilet next to you. Just buy yourself a cheap tent, and then you don't have to use the toilet.
Just don't sleep in the same tent.
Just don't sleep in that tent.
That is the best festival tip I've ever heard.
Yeah, the worst thing is the toilet. So I mean, there you go.
Oh my gosh, that is
put it in the tent. It's so simple.
Oh my gosh. That's good. That's good. So I like that. Make a toilet in your tent and start with the smaller festivals. I love it. Those are two big takeaways. I love that. Building toilets with underground sound. Yes. Oh, you should do an Instagram post about that. Seriously, you get such a response.
We should.
Yeah. I would. Who wouldn't like that? That's awesome. Are there? I want to kind of give the floor to you guys. If there's anything you want to talk about, or you feel like there's anything I haven't asked about, just wanted to kind of turn that over to you, and I really appreciate your time today, and just kind of I'm trying to think. I think I kind of covered my questions. Yeah, is there anything that I haven't covered that you guys want to kind of share?
Yeah, I mean, like we have a few like tips and tricks for people in the music industry, especially like, I mean, I am assuming that the audience is artists, people that are working in the music industry, and we have our own perspective and we have some do's and don'ts. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, I'd love to hear
that we can talk about, I guess. So,
yep.
I mean, the first one is be patient.
Yeah.
Just chill out, bro. You're not gonna. I mean, like if you're gonna make it like this, it'll happen, and you will not totally be in control of it. And if you are in control of it, it's you're very lucky. But for the large majority of us, just be patient. If you stick to your guns and you're persistent, you will get there.
Absolutely. Especially
if you really want it.
Yeah.
So don't be so hard on yourself if like tomorrow you're not the next star, So
exactly.
just
I'd say also as well, maybe be approachable and make yourself like easy to reach. Make sure that you're I mean, everybody knows, make sure that you're constantly putting out content on different social media platforms and switching it up on each one. Again, just to go back to LinkedIn, I would definitely recommend people get on there and learn about that platform.
Underrated for artists.
Very underrated for artists. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and the people that are probably going to make you bigger are the ones that are going to be on LinkedIn rather than Facebook. I would definitely say if you can and you've got a choice and you're an artist, to either go and spend money and drink with your friends at a festival or go to a music conference, I would say go to a music conference, because again, 6 degrees of separation, get to the right people, and then you manage to make it big. You know what I mean? You can go to as many festivals as you want, and maybe you'll be the headline, because you chose a business conference, which are actually really good because they do have the parties and the after parties, and you mingle. It depends how serious you're taking your craft. A lot of people, especially a lot of artists, I don't personally think they look at themselves as a business, when they are really. If this is what you want to do, you have to be organized, you have to be speaking and interacting and trying to network with the right people. You have to be breaking up your hour, your week, your month, to contacting certain people like magazines, and you have to be not scared to be putting the stuff out, whether it's video footage of yourself. Find somebody that's going to work with you. Don't get too attached up on, especially if you're just starting and like, oh, I need a manager, blah 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 blah. you can probably do that yourself. You know, you don't need a manager just yet. And you know, but if you've got a good friend who's willing to be able to kind of do this kind of stuff, then great. You know, work together and get your contracts sorted early on. So, you know, I mean, any good friend, I mean, we're great friends as well as business partners. We have contracts between us, you know, it's just an understanding that that's the business side, and you can still be friends. So try and cover yourself in that respect when you're putting music out. It's a good idea to even just to make one appointment with a lawyer, you know, just to get a little bit of advice and invest in there, just to see what you can do about copyright and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I would say that just look at yourself as a business, and yeah.
I think that the response times when you respond to messages from people are very important.
Yeah, they are.
People's attention spans are very short nowadays.
Yeah.
So my rule of thumb, and this is not just an underground sound, but in any business I get into, if you're replying to an email, you've got 24 hours.
Yeah.
During the week. During the weekend, 48 hours, because obviously it's the weekend. Like, allow people to get back to you. Allow yourself time to get back. However, and let's say that you don't have the time for a full reply. Let's say you can't reply to all the questions. It doesn't matter. Just send a reply back and say, I will get back to you later, rather than just disappearing for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very important. It's something that I'm always trying to improve at. And I have a new little baby at home, so I'm learning all kinds of new things about how to be a dad and still work.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's just not always. Yeah, I'm learning a lot. Being a new dad and trying to figure out how to have a work-life balance and work. You know, I work 2 or 3 jobs, and I have the music licensing, and then I have the DJing, and
amazing.
I have like a side job, so it's interesting. Definitely time management, response times. I absolutely agree with you. Be approachable, take breaks. Definitely.
Yep.
God, can't say enough about taking breaks. But also, I always felt there was like a flip side to. I agree with you. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. There's certainly ways, but I also think that it's important to not focus completely on that. Oh, I have to excel by whatever time, and you'll burn out.
Yeah.
Really quickly if you don't take care of your health. And I think that gets overlooked a lot with artists who are just kind of on that path of go, go, go all the time. And I think it's really easy to burn out, especially the closer you get to your goal, it becomes increasingly easier to burn out. Then I also think that your personality can, as you get closer to that goal, if you are not careful, your personality can change drastically. I don't know if you've ever kind of seen that happen with any artist, but so it's really important to take breaks. And I always say this is like, I like what you said before about you work together, but you're also friends. I always say to artists who are like, well, what do I do if I make it, or what tips do you have? And I'm like, just make sure by the time you get to where you're going that you have friends left who may not be on your payroll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, make sure and by that I mean make sure you have people around you who can still tell it to you straight.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I have a close circle that you're going up with, and keep them by your side, because you don't know who's who, what they're after, you need that person to rely on,
at least someone to talk to. Worst case, I mean, you have to talk and let things out, rather than just like everything to yourself, so sharing I think is important, but I mean, I wanted to say one last thing is that like definitely keep in mind the long game.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like if you really like what you're doing so much, you remember you're gonna do it for the rest of your life. And if you're so dedicated to do it for the rest of your life, you gotta take breaks.
Yeah.
And you gotta, you know, especially the people that you're working with, like, you know, if you're trying to get something in the short term, that might not actually just benefit you in the long run. So the relationships that we build, the people we reach out to, yes, perhaps maybe we can't find anything that we're going to work on right now, but it doesn't mean you burn that bridge. It doesn't mean that you drop off and you don't talk to them ever again. Like, oh, they didn't serve me. No, you need to build things and realize that I might be working with this person.
Yeah.
In the future.
I mean, especially in Malta. Malta is super small, so it's a small island. So you know, you burn bridges, or you have issues with one person, and it could kind of spread. I mean, we've been in situations where we've gone to a meeting to speak to somebody who wanted us to interview them. And it was like, oh yeah, okay, we went along, we spoke to them, and we said, oh, we're going to go and speak to so-and-so, you know, in a couple of days we're meeting up. And they're like, well, I'm not going to talk to you then if you're meeting with them because we've got issues. And we're like, well, that's up to you. Like, you're not going to pull us into your politics and your drama. You know, like, do you want us to do a feature on you or not? I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. Like, we're going to speak to who we're going to speak to, and we're going to remain who we are. We're not getting involved in this, you know, because the other person, I really like their music as well. So, like, you know, at the end of the day, we're helping, and we're creating content for everyone. So whatever your issue is, just keep it to yourself, and you know. We ended up doing both anyway, so
it's a great moral story. We're right about
everyone. Well, thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. I really appreciate it, Ian and Luc, of course, and looking forward to getting more things going with you all, and you know, looking for a way to connect, try to help, you know, any of the artists who, you know, we're here for artists that come to you. You know, often artists, you know, I know it's a little different in the underground with underground music, but you know, there are artists who are still looking to, you know, monetize their music, and you know, we're here to help with the licensing and you know, pitching artist music for film and TV and stuff like that, and ad campaigns. But you know, so if there, and you know, if there's anything I can ever do or to help, you know, I'm of course here to be of service, and I appreciate both of your time. And you know, Malta is on my bucket list to visit. My family is from Malta, and I've never been.
wow.
So you know, I might be giving you a ring. You might get a call one day. I'm here. I'm in Malta.
Amazing. We'll show you around. Just try and aim for the summer. You'll have a great time. You know, there's a lot going on, and you know, we can definitely have a whiskey. We'll take you to a whiskey bar.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to be sharing some articles from your site. And is it okay to share your company profile on our site? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's available on our website. So
okay. Okay, great.
So feel free, and yeah, just send out to anybody. That doesn't matter what you do. Feel free to contact us. You know, you don't. You know, if you're not underground,
we're very reachable.
We're very reachable. You know, it's a loose term, so we try to explain it as best we can. So
I get you. Well, thank you again for your time, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and did you have anything, any questions for me, or did you have anything that you wanted to add before we sign off?
For me, no. I mean, we'll definitely look to send you some music. Maybe it'll be helpful for you to be able to get in film, and you know, even for the artists that we work with, we like to connect. So, I mean, if we can help anybody out in that way, yeah.
Other than that, I like your chair.
You know, my wife Stephanie picked that out. She really, she has. We like to watch old movies. You know, like the old dance movies, like White Christmas, and Bing Crosby, and Gene Kelly, and so she's very into, like, I don't know if you can see the chair there, but she's very into, like, a certain style, and so she picked that out, and
She would love
this
Malta.
can be your office chair. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, she would love Malta. There's a lot of this kind of style here.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
She's
Theme
she's
bar,
great.
absolutely. Yeah.
She's great. Well, thank you again so much for your time, and you all have a wonderful evening. Okay.
Cheers. Do you too, Jesse.
Cheers. Thank you again. Have a wonderful
No
day.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.